Framus guitars.
Of course, yeah.
Yes, and for me, I'm wondering. I'm a guitar teacher for already 20 years now, and you see so many brands, but Framus is still some kind of under the surface.
Sure.
And we started our guitar shop in the end of 2020, and we did a lot of research for selling guitars, but not only selling, but we want to have passion for a brand we promote. And then two students of mine already played on very old Framus, and I was very surprised by the quality of Framus. So we did a lot of research, and we get in contact with Nicholas and Hans Peter, and we were blown away by the people at Framus, and especially by the guitars. So I wonder, what was your first contact with the Wilfer family?
With the family,
Yeah.
it was when I started working with them. But with the brand, my father had a Framus banjo when I was a kid. So
that was the first contact already.
Yeah, so from the minute I was born, we had a Framus in the house.
Okay, yes, they have quite a history from 46 till now, and they went up, they went down. And
I mean, my whole thing is, with instruments in general, is I promote things that I use, and my work has many different facets. I do certain things with certain instruments. And for the things that I use Framus for, which is the majority, they are the best guitar for me in that realm. And I think for me, a lot of how I do my work is the details are the most important thing. Like, I had heard somebody describe any job as 80% of the time, 80% of the work takes 20% of the time, and then the last 20% is what takes 80% of your time. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of people that don't put a lot of effort into those small details. But for me, with the music that I do, that's arguably the most important part of the process for me. And I've designed a guitar with Framus called the Stormbender, which one of the many reasons why I like it so much is because of the attention to detail. And I don't know, it's like that relationship is one that is special to me because it evolves, you know? And the first time I had experience with the family, I don't think it's too
with
much
Hans
of a...
Peter?
I don't think there's a good enough story for you there. He was eating a potato. Yeah.
Well, we went to Germany last October.
Yeah.
And we spent almost a week, and especially on the work floor.
Yeah, of course.
And talked with
it's
a lot
beautiful factory.
Talked with a lot of people, and we are stunned.
Of course.
The techniques they used, the invisible fret technique, and the plaque machine. We were really stunned about it, by the whole factory and all the effort they put into, and especially today with the climate neutral thing. Yeah. But they did it already in the 90s. It wasn't a thing, but...
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of my relationships with any company are due to the interpersonal relationship, and I wouldn't work with a company if it wasn't right for my material. So there's that. But as people, I appreciate them because they were kind to me and they were kind to my family. And, you know, the pandemic was really difficult for a lot of companies. And I think that what it's shown me is that post-pandemic, your relationships with people are ultimately more important than any gear. Framus guitars are incredible guitars. I love them. But they're also really nice people, and they've been really nice to me. And that is arguably every bit as important, you know?
Yeah, I know that. We have very close contact with Nicholas and Hans Peter, and also with Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus I love.
He knows so much about the wood, and Katja, of course, Katja Semmler, who designing in the custom shop.
Yeah, of course,
and, but the quality of the instruments are so good. So I'm wondering, how come the brand is still under the surface?
Well, that's not a question for me. I think that it's a combination of circumstances, of course. If I knew the secret to promoting brands, I would be in a different place as well.
Yeah.
But for me, my connection with any company is really because it serves my artistic purposes correctly. And Framus guitars serve that aspect of my work perfectly, and so that's as far as I think about it. In fact, I like the fact that it's more of an underground thing.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like when I do the work with them, they make spaceships for me.
Yeah.
Like if you see my guitars, it's like they make spaceships for me. It's amazing, man, and it's like I love it so much.
Yeah. Can we have a look?
Yeah, of course.
At your guitars.
You can look at all of them, except for the one that Martin doesn't want you to look at.
Put them all
Yeah. Yeah.
So
This is it's everything for okay, so it's Framus, yeah.
I think the Stormbender is designed before 2016.
Yeah,
But in 2016 your album Transcendence came out,
right.
and you have a song, it's called The Storm.
Yeah, Stormbender.
So
yeah.
I thought, well, is that the name also?
Yeah.
Because of the song?
Yeah,
and,
I just name things because I'm shit at naming things, so I always just name it whatever is currently on my head. So that's why this is called Transcendence pickups. That's why the acoustic guitar with Prestige is called Empath.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm just terrible at naming things, right? But essentially, so the
You like the lacquer on the neck?
Yeah. So the idea with the work that I do, the majority of the guitars are Framus because we have different styles of music. I work with Kiesel for the headless guitars. I work with Prestige for the acoustic. And both of those things I've had discussions about Hans Peter with, and he's been very kind in that sense for me as well.
You can work with other guitar brands as well.
Well, it's not that I want to work with other guitar brands. Here's the thing, is it's like the only other guitars that I work with are things that Framus doesn't make, you know?
Yeah.
So I do headless guitars with a headless company because I do an ambient project that is perfect for. But the reason why I promote the brands that I do is because I believe in them for the reasons that I use them for. Yeah. We designed this guitar from the ground up, from the
with Marcus?
Yes, Marcus and I actually designed this from the ground up.
Yeah.
The idea with it is I wanted a guitar specifically for the heavy thing that I do, for like the heavy rhythms that I do. My favorite sounding guitar for heavy guitar is Les Paul Custom with EMGs. Like that's always been, 81s, right? But I ended up developing the Transcendence pickup with Fishman, which is close to that kind of 81 active sound, but it also gives me a couple of other tonal options for a clean setting that are really useful to me. And the problem with the Les Paul for me is they just look like shit when I'm holding it. So I wanted something that sounded similar, but just looked a little bit more outlandish, right? Yeah. So it's a set neck, but it feels like a through, because I like the sound of the set. Because I'm in open C tuning, it's a 25, it's like a Strat scale. Yeah. It's a 12 radius, 22 frets, set neck. Most of the production models are a mahogany body with a maple cap, very similar to a Les Paul. And this one here is Koa with mahogany, I believe. And there's certain things about it that were important for me. Like I like the fact that it stands on its own. I like the fact that, with the Les Paul, when you lay it down on the ground,
with the angle or the head, with the headstock.
Yeah. So basically, this one does it so that there's just a bit of give on the top there. So when you accidentally step on your guitar, which I will do, I don't break it, right?
Yes.
And it's an ebony fretboard, and the lights are just because, small penis.
It looks stunning.
But I think that, that's what I meant. But it's it's a little heavier as a guitar. It's got the Grover tuners. I really like these big, beefy tuners. I chose these ones, these locking things, which I don't like, but most of them are just the straight up Grover ones. And the finish on this, you had mentioned, yes, there's a shiny finish. I assume you don't like the shiny.
Well, I like them both because we have quite some guitars from Framus in our showroom, and you can choose for a satin neck or a lacquered neck.
Sure.
So, and I have a Pantera with a satin finish, but the more you play, that more it's got a really smooth feel about it. But the finish they use, they said almost the thinnest finish on the market today.
Yeah.
With the lacquering machine, we saw that also in Germany.
Yeah. And then I really like the Evertune system. It's like training wheels. You know, like when you're a kid and you're on a bicycle and you don't want to fall over.
Yeah.
It's similar to that for me. A lot of the function of the work, I gotta stand up because I'm 100 years old. A lot of the function of the work for me is that the tuning that I use is open C, which means that basically it's all fifths and octaves.
Yeah.
And so as a result of that, the rhythm section can play really sort of basic rhythmic ideas, but the orchestration that goes on top can imply the intervals, whether or not it's minor or major or what have you. So it's super important for me that the intonation and the tuning is like fucking dead on, right?
Yeah. And you have consonant quint C, G, C, G, and then at the last high E string.
Yeah, so with this one though, it starts on the G because it's the 7.
Yeah.
And so having it so it's like really like almost like a synth in terms of the tuning is like really important to the nature of the work. Yeah. So Evertune is ideal for this.
Especially for live playing, I think.
Yeah, I have it for the studio as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I have a Les Paul at home, like an actual Les Paul. That everybody's like, oh, you don't want to route a Les Paul, you don't want to put an Evertune in a Les Paul, but I absolutely did, and now I use it, which is great, because before it just sat there, right? So this is more of the material that the basic Stormbender design was based on, where it's a mahogany body, maple cap, but there's a piece of carbon fiber in the middle, right?
Quite some huge frets, or not?
Well, you know.
But the rounding.
Yeah?
I like it so much, the rounding.
Cool.
The frets.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so do I. Yeah, so there's that one, and then there's...
I'm jealous. The A-key model.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're jealous?
Yes, because I like the model and a little bit about the history, because original it was designed with the Dutch guitarist John Ackerman.
Sure.
He's a famous Dutch guitar player. He's old now. Together with Framus. It's a legendary model, and cool. Especially with the woods. And,
No, it's great, man.
F-hole.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's got a very beautiful F-hole.
Yeah.
The back is
it's really stunning.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. It's like, I love the fact that they look good, because, you know, when you're doing performance-based work, you're going to want to, at least I want to, sort of make a show for people, right? So having something that's kind of flashy is fun.
Yeah.
But beyond that, they're just really great guitars for me, right? Yeah.
Do you play specific songs on this model you use the 8K for?
I mean, it's the whole tour's in C.
Yeah.
So it's just, I guess Heartbreaker and Dimensions, but I shifted around more because it's like, it looks good, right? Yeah. Typically, I could just use this one, which is the main one.
Yeah.
And then when Mike, the other guitar player, Keneally, and I worked together on the Empath record, I loved him and appreciate him so much that I gave him this guitar.
Yeah, this is also it's the Mayfield model.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And we have a couple of them in the showroom hanging, and I really love them.
They're awesome. This one's solid though, so that's the difference. It's like the Mayfield is usually hollow and light, and this is solid and fucks up your back, right? So, but that's kind of like
you have to plug it in.
Oh,
for lights
damn, man!
But it sounds different than your main guitar.
Yeah, I mean, it's more wood. I mean,
it's not only the shape, but it's also the weight maybe.
This one sounds darker compared to your G-Bender.
Dude, man.
Yeah. So
I mean,
wonder
as a
about these
guitar player,
models.
I'm sure you have a different perspective on it, but or maybe, but I feel that
You play different maybe?
maybe
If you have a different model?
well, every guitar is different. Like you can have 6 of the same model. You know, you could have 6 Strats, and they're all going to sound different, right? So I think that for me, I like guitars or I don't. You know what I mean? So so I really like those, and they probably sound different, but they all sound killer. So that's good too. But I use the different ones based on the color.
Yeah, I saw yesterday an interview with Ola and John Petrucci, and he's now also touring.
Yeah.
And he asked him, how many guitars do you use? He have 10 guitars now on tour, but said I can do it with 2. But
Yeah.
some guitars have something special, and
Yeah.
when you're playing live, you really want to have the JP15 or something because it feels right.
Yeah, I'm fortunate to have people that care enough about what I do to make me amazing tools. So I've got more than one, and so I use them, and that's fucking awesome.
I miss one model, and that's directly a question from a customer that went to our shop this week, and he's really interested in the Framus. So I show him the television, the Pantera, the Mayfield, and we played 4 hours every model. But he's really interested in the Blank T.
Oh, cool.
But the Blank T is out of stock at Framus. But I talked to Nicholas and said, well, if our customer really, your customer really wants to have a Blank T, we can build a Blank T for him. So
Cool.
I told our customer, Edwin, do you know the history about the Blank T? I said, no. Well, it's also a model designed by Devin Townsend.
Yeah.
I said, can you ask him, does it really sound like a telly, and do it have the twang?
Oh. It sounds like what I write on it. I don't know if it sounds like a telly. It sounds great. I mean, do you think it sounds like a telly?
Well, I did some research, and the pickups they put in the team builds definitely are telly, but it sounds a little bit thicker than the telly.
So it's like a telly, but a little thicker.
Yeah, like a single coil that sounds like
Like a single coil.
like single coil, but then a little bit fatter.
But a little fatter.
A little fatter.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm just a.
But you
I'm
designed
just
it,
a
right?
girl.
With Marcus, the Blank T also.
Yeah. But I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. But I didn't design it to sound like anything. I just designed it because I was writing a piece of music at that time, Casualties of Cool, that I wanted it to, like the set neck and the maple and everything.
Yeah.
But I wasn't chasing a tone necessarily. I was
Okay.
just looking for something that
Yeah.
would suit the music. And it totally does.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's not here is because I'm not playing that music.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing for me to be clear about when I'm working with companies is I use it because it serves a purpose.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't promote things I don't use because it seems so ugly.
Yeah, and maybe that's also a thing about signature guitars. There are a lot of fans out there,
Yeah.
and they want to have a Stormbender because
yeah.
you play on it.
Yeah, I play certain things on it and it's perfect for that.
But-
and I think it's like you know, if you try to make a guitar work for everything, man, it's like I don't think that's possible.
No.
Right? And so, you know, I'm doing a project right now that requires something super crazy, and so I asked for that next. But when I do that stuff live, it'll be specifically with that, right? I think the thing that's interesting to me about working with companies is, like I said over there, it's I really like them as people. And they make me the tools that I need for my job, and I appreciate that so much. But dude, I hate selling things.
Nah,
Sucks.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so when
because
if people buy something based on
Yeah.
an endorsement from me, it's because I really mean it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it seems that's the best endorsement that I can give to Framus.
Yeah.
Is that I use it because I love it.
And you only want to have something new because you need it.
They
And you,
ca-
you have a lot of guitar players. John Truzzi, he
Yeah.
has 20 models every year. A new model is coming.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a different arrangement, right?
Yeah.
Framus, Marcus, and Hans Peter keep asking if I want another guitar,
Yeah.
but until I need one,
No,
it doesn't make any sense for me to have it.
that's
right?
a total different aspect.
Very
if you have
much.
an endorsement. Not every year want to build a new guitar
they do.
for
It's too
selling
expensive.
a lot of guitars.
Yeah, specifically if they're in like a more underground brand. It's like I don't want them to have to pay a bunch of money to me to like make a guitar that I may not use, right?
Yeah.
So this is the same thing like when I was working with, like Kiesel or Aristides
Yeah.
or whatever. The only reason why I ended up asking Hans if I could use those guitars
Yeah.
is because there were things that Framus didn't make, right?
Yeah.
But when I need something from Framus, they've been so generous to me.
Yeah.
And one of the ugliest things is when players switch brands really quickly and then they say, this was my favorite guitar in the world.
Yeah,
And then the next time you see them, they're like, oh, I'm sorry, what I meant was this is my favorite guitar
Yeah,
in the world.
I know what you mean.
So
but,
through the pandemic where
you see guitar players changing brands.
yeah,
Yeah, and the reason because of maybe the pandemic, everybody needs smoke your chimney.
smoke your chimneys is great. I said to them during the pandemic because I know they went through some hard times as well.
Yeah.
I said I love you guys and I love what you've done for me.
Yeah.
And although I have other needs, I won't like the endorsement that I have for Framus is absolutely authentic.
Yeah.
It's because I love the brand
Yeah,
and I love the guitars that they've made for me and I love them. And so
Yeah.
I promote them because of that. But it's like when it comes to one guitar versus the other, I mean, dude, what I do is so idiosyncratic. It's like the music that I do. I mean, the reason why I've been doing it for 30 years and I exist in this tiny little area in the music industry is because it's not for everybody.
Now, and this week we promote you
Yeah.
with every day some news about your music,
Thank you.
about the model, and then
Thank you.
I already talked to people. You love him or you hate him, because every album can be different, and a lot of music listeners, if you have a very successful album, then the pressure is high because the next album maybe sounds like the successful album, so you're gonna write on maybe almost the same. And with you, it's gonna be special, but it's not sounding the same like the other album, and that's what I like about Devin Townsend.
What do you listen to typically? What do you listen to?
The style of music?
Yeah.
Well, that's a long history because my mom and dad were classically schooled and listened to religion music. I studied jazz on the Royal Conservatory. I listened to film music. I like Hans Zimmer is my favorite composer for me, and prog, but it also can be pop music as well. So it's quite a lot of style of music, and I'm a guitar teacher as well. So if I only listen to metal, you're like this musically. So I try to listen as much styles as I can.
Awesome, bro.
Yeah, because I can listen 20 years to Slayer, with all due respect, but that's only one part of such a large music history.
Well, I really appreciate the interview, so I'll conclude it by saying I think that Framus as a brand offers something that other guitar players don't. And in my experience and what I've asked them to do, that is the details. There's so many things that I think are under the surface of making a guitar that oftentimes gets ignored because it's either cost effective or people think that other people won't notice.
Yeah.
But I use Framus because, like the work that I do, they pay attention to those things, and it's an honor for me to promote the brand. I love the people, I love the guitars.
For us as well, not only as a shop, and they told us so many times, you're so passionate about the brand, so we are not really some kind of commercial guitar shop, because we sell guitars what people are searching or need, and not only because we have 20 models in stock and we try to push to sell that guitar. So that's
Good luck with the shop, man. That's
ma-
awesome.
maybe the different thing.
Thank you so much, brother.
Well, okay.
It's a pleasure.
Maybe the different. Oh, okay.